What's up, crew excellence? It is your boy Justin Strickland, the host of the Ladder Podcast, and I'm back with another banger for the internet, baby. We here hanging out at the Ladder as we always do, just trying to help you be a better leader. And so I got a really dope topic today. It's just something that I've been interested in as we moved into the new year, and I've just been noticing some things, and I'm like, man, I should speak on this because I think we all can relate to it, and I think we all can learn something from what I got to say today. So I hope you are here for the right reasons, which is to grow as a leader. Here at The Ladder, we believe that everybody, no matter what position they have, no matter their age, they have some form of leadership responsibilities and are therefore a leader. And so every episode that comes out is built around that fundamental truth and the idea that we can help you grow. And so if you're here to become a better leader, you are in the right place. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button, and share it with somebody else who you think could benefit from this. And especially wait till the end of this episode because you're going to know exactly who you need to share this with by the time we get to the end. All right, so let's jump into it. Today, I'm going to talk about how to argue well. And yes, how to argue well. And the reason that I think this is so important is so often online, I see, read, and hear poor arguments, just bad arguments. And it's not even that I often am on one side or the other. It's just that objectively, that's a bad argument. And so I want to help you because I think as leaders, one of the things that we can do, especially using online platforms, is to argue well and to help spread understanding and educate and to learn. And so I'm going to tell you four things that people are so bad at arguing, especially online. And then I'm going to give you 5 ways you can argue well. So 4 reasons why people are so bad at it and 5 ways that you could be good at it. So let's jump into the 4 reasons people are terrible at arguments. All right. The first one is this: reading comprehension. This is by far the first reason why people are bad at arguments. And that's in person and online. So reading comprehension just means, 1, people can't read. All right, so let's start there. 1, people can't read. And that sounds crazy, but it's true. The people that couldn't read in high school are just grown-ups who can't read. And when I mean can't read, what I mean is they don't have a extensive vocabulary. And so there are often words and sentences and paragraphs that they don't know. And instead of going to the dictionary or using Google or ChatGPT or whatever, or Siri or whatever to find that definition, they assume one. And often that will cause you to have a bad argument. If you have poor reading comprehension, you don't understand what you're reading or responding to, then your response is not going to be very good. And so this happens when you're talking to someone too. You say something and they don't understand what you're saying, they will respond poorly. And so I think that's the number one reason why people have bad arguments online and in person. It's just comprehension. They do not understand. They have no clue. They do not understand the argument. They don't understand what you're saying. And so because they don't understand what you're saying, they cannot respond accordingly. Number 2, the audience effect. And so this happens online especially, but it definitely happens in person when you're in a group. And what this looks like is, me and you are debating, having an argument, friendly discussion. We're on opposite sides. But I feel like as soon as we start having this discussion in view of others, it's me versus you. And now I can't concede, back down any of my points or understand any of your perspective, because the moment I do that, you win. And everybody sees that you win. And so that definitely it disallows from any of the discussion to be fruitful because neither of us is willing to back down because neither of us wants to lose. Instead of us having a discussion where both of us can grow and learn, we have a discussion where only one of us can win. And the audience effect magnifies that. It makes it so like, I'm like, man, people have been laughing at my comment, laughing at your comment, people heart my comment, people thumb down, whatever. I can't let my people down. Right? The people that's on my side, I can't let them down. And the people that's on your side, I can't let them think they won. And so that audience effect kind of, it amplifies the stakes for our discussion. Instead of this being an exchange of information, knowledge, and understanding, it becomes a competition for who's smarter and who's more eloquent. And so Number two is the audience effect. Number three is the reason is when you start the conversation, you are trying to educate and not be educated. So that's number three is you want to educate and not be educated. You at the moment, usually, almost always, when you are moved by the spirit that is not the Holy One to comment online, right? You are doing so because you think you're about to tell somebody something that they don't know, right? You're doing so because you feel like you're the authority on this topic, this concept, and you're like, man, I gotta tell them this, whatever that may be. A lot of times, me and my wife talk about this often. For me, often I don't usually comment. I almost never comment on people's statuses or videos or anything in a way that is confrontational, unless they're talking about Jesus. That's the only time. But a lot of times I get pulled into stuff, and I say that loosely, like nobody's actually pulling me into it. But I become interested or intrigued in a discussion in the comment section. I find myself wanting to respond to people who responded to the original post or video, and that for me, and you can be honest, for me that's usually because I'm like, oh, they're wrong about X, and so I should tell them they don't want to be wrong. Everybody wants to be right, and so I enter into the discussion thinking that I'm the authority and have the knowledge. And what that does is now when you say something back, I'm like, they're just poor them, right? Poor them. They just can't understand. And so I don't enter the discussion like, I just someone who thinks differently. Let me understand how they got there, and let me tell them where I'm at. Like that's a very different way to enter the discussion. So I think that's a number three reason why people argue poorly is they are trying to educate and not be educated. And number four, and this is especially online, this is specific to online, tone is assumed. So the fourth reason that people argue poorly, and this online especially, is that you read it in the tone that is assumed. Most people are not putting voice notes in comments. And so you read their comment, you make a picture, and we do this as humans. We make a picture of who we think they are in our mind. We don't even got to look at the profile picture. If they have a profile picture, we use the profile picture to make up a voice and a tone that we then read the paragraph in, right? And so we can create hostility where there is none. We can create sarcasm where there is none. We can often create the feeling of being belittled when that may not be the case, right? And so because online forums often are just they want text and not audio responses to posts and video, we assume tone a lot. And this can be a barrier in understanding and having a discussion that is positive and that is fruitful. For me, this happens all the time. If I'm having a conversation with somebody and I feel like at any point my tone is being misread, I hop on the phone. Hey man, can I call you real quick? Yeah. So this is what I was saying. And this is what I meant. This is how I meant it. Because I don't want what I'm saying to be lost, or you to put a wall up because you're assuming my tone is something that it's not, right? And so I think that's a very important thing. Number four, tone is assumed. So these are the four reasons why people are so bad at argument. One, reading comprehension, understanding, right? Number two, the audience effect. It's people watching. I can't lose. Number three, I am the educator and not the educated. And number four, tone is assumed. Those are four reasons why we're so bad at arguing. I want you to write down which one do you think is that you encounter most when you are yourself arguing online, or when you see other people arguing. Which one of those four do you think is like the most prevalent in online or in-person forums? Go ahead, drop the comment now. I want to read them. I'm interested to see what you all think. I know what I think is the number is one that happens most, but I'm interested to see what you all think. All right, now I'm not gonna just leave you there. I'm not gonna tell you all the bad. All right, we're gonna get to the good stuff. How to argue well, and what I mean by argue well is we are, as humans with different cultures and different backgrounds and different lived experiences, we are supposed to meet each other and share those. That is one of the most beautiful things about humanity is we can be from different places with completely different perspectives and have a conversation about that. And so, I want you to be able to do that more often and walk away from those interactions, having learned something and having an appreciation for someone else's perspective. And the reason I want you to have that attitude about arguing and discussions and the melding of ideas is when you don't when you think that the other side is evil and you think that the people that aren't like you, don't look like you, don't think like you, are from Satan, right? Shout out to my churchy folk. You disregard their lived experiences, and that's hypocritical because you don't want them to disregard yours. And so I don't want us to be hypocrites. Leaders should not be hypocrites. We should treat others how we want to be treated. And I think all of us want to be seen and heard. And so I want you to learn how to argue well so that you can see and hear other people, understand their perspective, and not necessarily agree, but at least walk away with saying, man, I learned something about this person or about this argument or about this worldview. And that can only help you in the long run, right? All right. 5 ways to argue well. Number 1, read the whole post, watch the whole video. Okay? That's the number 1. You want to argue well? Read the whole post in its entirety before you start to formulate your response. Watch the whole video in its entirety before you start to formulate your response. So often we want to be the quickest to market with our comment, the quickest to market with our response. And we don't allow the person that we're listening, that we're reading, to flesh out their idea. And so I would say, even in a conversation in person, make sure you don't butt in before someone finishes their perspective, finishes sharing their experience. Allow them to finish first and then respond to the finished work. Because a lot of times what you'll understand, what will happen when you do that is you will realize how upset you are at the beginning of the post or beginning of the video may not be how you feel towards the end. Once that person has had a minute, 45 seconds to flesh out their ideal, you'll be like, man, that ain't that deep. I do kind of see what they're saying. Or you will be justified and you'll be like, all right, I wasn't tripping. They really are tripping. I need to say something. So just let them finish the whole post. Let them finish the whole video, okay? Number 2, try to understand their perspective. So instead of bullying in the comments where you're trying to only get people to see your way, try to understand where the other side is coming from. Like really, really listen so you can be like, well, you know what? I understand that worldview. I understand that perspective. I don't agree. I think it's wrong. I think it's immoral sometimes. I think it's asinine. But I do understand where they're coming from. And I think when you do that, you will allow yourself to take a breath to respond to their actual perspective and not to the person because what happens when you don't take time to understand their perspective is you respond in a way that they think you don't understand what they're trying to tell you. And so y'all don't ever get to what you're really trying to talk about because they're trying to explain their perspective still. Instead of you guys having a discourse about whether their perspective is right or wrong, they're trying to get you to understand what their perspective is. And so when you take a step back to try to understand their perspective first, it will disarm them. A lot of people want to be seen and heard. We talked about this. And so when they feel like you're trying to understand them and not just prove them wrong, they will be more open to the discussion that you're having. And then 2, you will be able to respond in kind. You'll be able to respond with a certain amount of knowledge and wisdom than if you didn't take time to understand their perspective. Number 3, respond to the argument and not the person. This is really hard because it can be hard to separate the argument from the person. A lot, and we get to, and whenever I see people online name calling, I'm like, yeah, this ain't, yep, It's over. This discourse, this sharing of ideas, we got lost in the sauce. It's over because the arguments, the discourse is not what is the main thing. The main thing is how many names can I call you that are funny? How many names that I can call you that are hurtful? How many names that I can call you that I think other people like you should be called too? And we're no longer having a discussion about the issue or about the video or the post. We're having a discussion about our identities, about our personhood. And everyone's going to defend their own identity and personhood. And so I see all the time, someone will say something, someone will say something, someone will say something back, and they'll be like, you just a B. That's why. It's like, oh, that's over. as soon as that's said, that's over. You know, it's just, you can't, we're not going to continue to have a discussion about perspective because now I have to talk. Now we have to decide who we are as people and not what we believe. And so respond to the argument, not the person. Leave them out of it. If they a low down dirty dog, that doesn't mean they have a bad argument. It doesn't mean they have a bad perspective. If they're terrible with money, doesn't mean that their post doesn't have some truth to it, right? If they are sexual deviants, doesn't mean that they cannot speak up about being pure, right? So respond to the argument, not the person. Separate the two. Now, there may be some people, because of who they are, you don't engage them in discourse and argument. And I think that's appropriate. There are some people with certain perspective and certain lifestyle that you just go, that ain't my fight. Like, I don't think I have anything that they will listen to, and I don't think they have anything that I will listen to. I think that's okay. I would caution you, it shouldn't be that many. It shouldn't be thousands of people or millions of people that you can't have a conversation with. But if there's one or two people that you know personally, like, and I don't really vibe with, buddy, we ain't having no discussions. I see him, what's up, man, whatever, with the woo. But I can't go back and forth with him. Right? So I think that's fair. Number 4, be open to learn. And I know this seems counterproductive because you are the most wise person under the post. But be open to learn from somebody when you're engaging in discourse online or in person. Be willing to say, dang, I'm tripping. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. Like, think about how many times you say that when you're talking to people. Or do you always say, well, whatever. I mean, that's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's how you see it. It's whatever. We can agree to disagree. Like, if you are never willing to concede that someone else can say something that's wise or intelligent, you're the problem. You're the problem. Because one, you either hang around all dumb people, or two, you have pride and ego and you're not willing to lower those, right? You're not willing to swallow those, to give someone else the opportunity to be the wisest person in the chat room. And so just be ready, be open to learn. I learn all the time. I have discourse. I'm always in conversations with people and I think differently than them often. And I'm always been like, wow, I never thought about it like that. Like, I would have never came to that conclusion. How'd you get there? And they walk it back and talk. And I'm like, I guess that do make sense. Right? And so be open to learn. And then number 5, this is something this is probably my number one anchor when I'm arguing with someone, person, online, whatever. What is the desired outcome? What is the desired outcome from this conversation? And so for me, in person, almost always the desired outcome is that we have a better relationship. No matter what we're talking about, no matter what the discrepancies are in our perspective or whatever, my desired outcome when I'm having interaction with another person that God made is that we have a better relationship after this conversation. That's my desired outcome. And so because that's my desired outcome, I don't name call. Because that's a desired outcome, I don't assume intentions or intent. Like, because that's my desired outcome, I think before I speak. Because I'm always thinking about, make sure you don't ruin this relationship. Make sure that this person doesn't think differently of you after this personally. Like, make sure that this person knows that you respect them and love them, regardless of your perspective on this item. Because we are all way bigger than any one issue. And so that's my desired outcome. If I'm having arguments online, a lot of times my desired outcome is just to share my perspective, to share my lived experience. That's my desired outcome. Because oftentimes what I've realized, especially with like online sourcing becoming a ginormous right now, is it's huge, right? Is you can find a source that says what you want it to say. You can find a source to be like, look, in this article by Lily Jane Daily, they said this. It's like, bro, who is Lily Jane, bro? Like, we don't even know if she's a real reporter. So like, but like because of that, it used to be my goal was to educate. And to have intellectual discussions with people based on real sourcing, because that's a big deal to me. And I think anybody who's like spent time in like higher ed, sourcing is so important. We understand the difference between primary sources, secondary sources, tertiary sources. We understand it's very important where you're getting your source material from. Now, in online debates, I've realized that is not as important to people. And so I've moved away from that. That is my desired outcome. Now my desired outcome is to share my perspective and to engage with those who are willing to have amicable discussions. As soon as a discussion turns toxic or turns personal, I'm out. Because my desired outcome is just to share information, perspective, lived experience, and then that's it. Once I feel like I've hit that finish line, like, hey, I think they understand where I'm coming from. Off there, back on the game. Like that's just kind of how it works for me. And so I think you have to figure out what is your desired outcome when you're engaging in discourse, online or in person, and what can you do to work backwards so that your speech, your language, the way that you interact with people moves you towards that desired outcome. Okay? Now, this is especially true and important for us today because we live in a world where they keep telling us and they keep trying to force us to be divided. They keep trying to force us to engage in divisive conversation. And I'm trying to tell you guys, we don't have to do that. That is not the only way to go viral. That is not the only way to interact with people online. That is not the only way to punch back at your family or to respond to your friends. There's a better way to have civil discourse. And I want my leaders who watch this, who watch The Ladder, who are part of Crew Excellence, to do it with excellence. I'm encouraging you all. I believe in you all. And I hope I didn't shame anybody or make anybody feel like I was talking to them, even though I was. I was just trying to give you some tools so that you could be better. And that's what you load up this pod for. And so I hope that this helps somebody. Share it with the person you know who be in the comments going crazy. And let's just see if this might change their life just a little bit. Till next time, man, I'm be hanging out with somebody who think they look like Beyonce. And I will see y'all next time, man. Honor and privilege. Peace.